What if I told you that in the next few minutes, you're going to step into a story that doesn't just summarize a film, but reminds you why people still talk about it decades later? If you came here to understand why one quiet prison drama became a symbol of hope across the world, stay with me. You'll get the story, the emotion, and the meaning behind every moment, without rushing to the ending, without spoiling the journey too soon. This is the tale of resilience, patience, friendship, and a man who refused to let a prison define his soul. Some of the most unforgettable films are not the loud ones, not the ones that rely on spectacle or shock. The truly powerful stories are gentle at their core. They speak softly but carry enormous weight. They teach us not to drown in despair, not to surrender to grief, and not to abandon hope when everything around us seems determined to crush it. They remind us that hope is not a luxury, it is a necessity. One of the greatest examples of this kind of storytelling is The Shawshank Redemption. It does not simply tell a prison story, it creates an emotional embrace, a warm hold on our feelings, and invites us into the lives of men who form an unlikely family behind stone walls and iron bars. Beneath its quiet tone lies a deep meditation on time, endurance, and the human spirit. It is a story about a lifetime shaped by friendship, persistence, and the refusal to be broken. The film was both written and directed by Frank Darabont, adapted from a story by Stephen King. Darabont's approach to filmmaking is distinctive. Rather than racing through plot points, he lets the story breathe. He allows moments to linger. He trusts the audience to observe, to feel, and to grow alongside the characters. This deliberate pacing is something many films avoid, but here it becomes essential. Time is a character in this story, and the slow unfolding mirrors the years passing within the prison walls. At the center of it all is Andy Dufresne, a quiet banker accused of murdering his wife, Linda, and her lover. The evidence against him is strong, the circumstances suspicious, yet Andy continuously maintains his innocence. From the very beginning, we sense a contradiction between what the world believes and what Andy claims. He is sentenced to life in Shawshank Prison, and the judge describes him as a cold, remorseless man. But as we watch him, there is something else there, something calm, controlled, and strangely gentle. This tension keeps us engaged. Did he really commit the crime, or is he a victim of circumstance? The film never hands us easy answers. Instead, it allows our curiosity to grow. When Andy first arrives at Shawshank, prison life hits him hard. He's different from the others, polite, reserved, educated, and many inmates see him as a snob. He struggles to adapt to the harsh routines, the constant noise, the lack of privacy, and the cruelty that fills every corner of the prison. A dangerous group of inmates known as the Sisters begin targeting him. In the wash area, Andy is attacked repeatedly, assaulted while guards look the other way. Each time he fights back, and each time it earns him punishment. He spends days in the infirmary, weeks in solitary confinement. The brutality is relentless, and yet Andy never loses his composure. He endures, quietly, patiently, with a determination that feels almost mysterious. The brilliance of the story lies in how it connects us emotionally to Andy. The film isn't only about what happens to him, it's about how we feel about him. Our sympathy grows, our curiosity deepens. We begin to respect him, even when we don't fully understand him. If Andy were a typical heroic character, loudly declaring courage and strength, the story would feel ordinary. Instead, his mystery draws us in. Why does he walk the prison yard with such calm when everyone else carries visible burdens? Why does he rarely reveal his thoughts? What is he planning, if anything at all? Soon after arriving at Shawshank, Andy approaches a seasoned inmate named Red. Red is known as a man who can get things. Andy asks him for a small rock hammer, a tool used to break stones. He explains that he enjoys collecting rocks and shaping them. Later, Andy gives Red money to obtain polishing cloths for shining the rocks. Then, somewhat nervously, Andy asks Red to smuggle in a large poster of a famous actress, Rita Hayworth. Red agrees, curious but not suspicious. At the time, these requests seem harmless, just small comforts in a harsh place. But the film plants these details carefully, allowing them to settle into the background without drawing attention too early. A few years later, Andy and Red find themselves working together on the roof of the prison's license plate factory. Up there, under the open sky, something changes. A guard named Byron Hadley complains about a large inheritance from his brother, frustrated by the taxes he'll have to pay. Andy, ever observant, steps forward and offers advice. Using his banking knowledge, he explains how Hadley could legally protect the money by giving it to his wife as a tax-free gift. He even offers to handle the paperwork. In return, he asks only for a few beers for the men working on the roof. At first, Hadley is skeptical and suspicious, but Andy remains calm, confident, and respectful. Eventually, Hadley agrees. This moment becomes a turning point. Andy earns respect from both guards and prisoners. For the inmates, he is no longer just the quiet banker. He is the man who got them cold beer on a hot day, who dared to speak to a guard without fear, and who won. From this point on, Andy gains favor. The guards protect him from the sisters. He is given a safer job as the prison librarian. He even gets his own cell, away from the general population. In a place where privacy is unheard of, this is a remarkable privilege. Andy takes full advantage of this opportunity. Over the next 20 years, he transforms the small, dusty prison library into a valuable resource. He writes letters to government departments, asking for donations and funding. He organizes books, expands the collection, and encourages inmates to learn and read. The library becomes a quiet refuge, a place of knowledge and possibility in a world designed to strip men of identity and hope. Meanwhile, Andy begins helping guards with their taxes. Word spreads. Soon, even the warden, Samuel Norton, takes notice. Norton is a strict, religious man who runs Shawshank with a mixture of moral righteousness and cold authority. He believes deeply in discipline, appearances, and scripture. When he learns of Andy's financial skills, he finds a new use for him. Andy starts managing financial matters for the warden, including hiding money obtained through corrupt dealings with construction companies. Norton sees no contradiction between his religious image and his secret crimes. Andy becomes an essential part of this scheme, unknowingly trapping himself deeper within Shawshank's power structure. Ironically, his intelligence and usefulness make it even harder for him to ever be released. Then a new inmate arrives, Tommy Williams, young, talkative, and energetic. Tommy eventually shares a shocking story. He once shared a cell with a man who confessed to murdering a tennis player named Glenn Quinton, the very man involved in Andy's case. This revelation shakes Andy to his core. For the first time in years, he sees a real chance at proving his innocence. He approaches Warden Norton, asking him to help reopen the case and investigate Tommy's information. But Norton refuses. Helping Andy would mean losing his most valuable asset, the man who keeps his financial secrets safe. Worse still, Andy's freedom would threaten to expose the warden's corruption. Rather than help, Norton punishes Andy severely, throwing him into solitary confinement for over a month with nothing but bread and water. Later, to erase the problem completely, Norton arranges for Tommy to be sent away to another prison, silencing the only witness who could prove Andy's innocence. Andy tries once more to reason with Norton, appealing to logic and fairness. It only lands him back in solitary confinement. When he finally returns to the library, something has changed. He is quieter, more withdrawn. He spends long hours thinking, planning, and observing. The spark of hope that once shone openly now burns silently inside him. One day, Andy reveals something extraordinary to Red. He explains that before coming to prison, he arranged for a friend to create a false identity. Under this name, he invested $4,000 of Andy's money. Over the years, it has grown to more than $370,000. But Andy cannot touch the money. It is tied to the fake identity, and accessing it directly could expose him. The important documents and bonds are locked in a safe deposit box. The key to that box is hidden under a black volcanic rock in the countryside near Shawshank. Andy then shares his dream. One day, he says, he will escape. He will assume his new identity and start a small hotel in Mexico. He imagines warm beaches, open skies, and a life free from walls and bars. He even invites Red to join him. Red listens, but years of institutional life have shaped him. He finds it hard to believe in such dreams. Hope feels dangerous to him, something that can hurt if it fails. He nods politely, but doesn't truly expect any of it to happen. Years pass. Then, one morning, the guards discover something impossible. Andy's cell is empty. They search the entire prison. No one has seen him, no trace. Panic spreads. The warden storms into Andy's cell, furious. As he tears down Andy's Rita Hayworth poster in rage, a secret is revealed, a gaping hole in the concrete wall behind it. The truth suddenly becomes clear. Andy has been chiseling away at the wall for nearly 20 years, using the rock hammer Red brought him and hiding the damage behind the poster. The hole leads to a sewage drain pipe that exits into the marshes outside the prison.
Red pieces everything together. Andy must have waited nearly 8 years after finishing the tunnel before finally summoning the courage to escape. He walked through filth, darkness, and danger to reach freedom. The authorities search the marshes and nearby towns, but Andy is gone. No trace, no body, no capture. The pressure becomes too much for Warden Norton. His corruption is exposed, his power collapses. He suffers a breakdown and eventually resigns. Shawshank's control structure crumbles, and the legend of Andy Dufresne spreads through the prison. He is no longer just a man who escaped. He becomes a symbol, proof that the human spirit cannot be caged forever. Time moves forward. Red, now older, is released on parole. He finds work as a bag boy in a supermarket. His life outside feels strange and empty at first, but on his days off he travels into the countryside. He says he enjoys the open spaces, but there's another reason. He is searching for the black volcanic rock Andy once told him about. For weeks, Red wanders through fields and stone walls. Then, one day, he finds it. Beneath the rock is a small box. Inside, he discovers a letter addressed to him from Peter Stevens, Andy's fake identity. The letter invites Red to come to Mexico and includes $1,000 to help him get there. In that moment, Red feels something he hasn't felt in years: hope without fear. He makes his decision. He will leave his job, he will break parole, he will cross borders if necessary, he will find Andy. Some say life itself feels like a prison, and in this story, Red represents us, ordinary people trapped by routine, fear, and resignation. Andy, in contrast, becomes a symbol of salvation, not in a religious sense alone, but in a human one. He shows what it means to believe in possibility when everything says you shouldn't. The Shawshank Redemption teaches powerful lessons. It tells us that even when life feels unbearable, we should never abandon hope. Andy faces violence, isolation, injustice, and betrayal, yet he never allows his spirit to be broken. His friendship with Red reminds us of the importance of genuine connection, having someone who listens, who understands, and who walks beside us even in darkness. The film also teaches the value of integrity. Andy stays true to himself. He refuses to become cruel in a cruel place. His quiet honesty, intelligence, and patience become his greatest weapons. In the end, it isn't brute force that frees him, but persistence, planning, and belief in a future beyond the walls. All great art hides deeper truths beneath its surface, and this story is no exception. It is a prison film, yes, but more than that, it is a reflection of life. We all face walls. We all face systems that try to define us. And like Andy, we all have the power to carve our own path, even if it takes years, even if no one else believes in it. Because hope, as this story shows us, is a good thing, maybe the best of things, and no good thing ever truly dies. Thank you for watching.